you today? So please excuse me for looking like a drenched kitty because I said drenched. D-R-E-N. No, fucking captioner. Drenched. Drenched kitty. Okay. That's how I feel because I just took a shower and my hair is all wet. Alrighty. So today it is, we're still in September 2024, so we are ongoing in Deaf Awareness Month. So I thought that we could continue our conversation regarding deaf issues. And today I kind of just wanted to focus a little bit on my deaf family, um, DEAF. I said F, not S. S, not ass. God damn. S, not ass. Holy fuck. Alright. DEAF. Dude, I did not say fuck. Oh my fucking god, I fucking hate this stupid ass bitch. Look, if you think this captioner is wrong, it probably is, okay? Like, fuck this thing. Alright, anyway, fucking. Today we're talking about Deaf Awareness Month. We're going to talk about my deaf family experience. I want to talk a little bit overview of hereditary deafness, give you a little bit about who's deaf in my family, what's it like being deaf in a deaf family, um, and just things like that, and then just considering deaf representation in general. And so, yeah, that's what we're about to talk about. I'm going to roll my fucking intro, and then we're going to get this bitch started. Hi, my name is Lexi, aka Deaf Child. I'm born deaf, hard of hearing. My team was one of the top teams between 2020 and 2024 in New Orleans and Louisiana. I began doing business as Deaf Child in 2013, marketing 2011, and sales 2009. I've earned 50 plus certifications in marketing and sales, and I have my Bachelor of Science from Loyola University, New Orleans, with a music industry studies major and a business administration minor. Visit my site at noladeafchild.com. Alright, so I'm going to try to make today quick. I wrote myself a little outline to try and stay on topic. So first of all, I just wanted to talk a little bit about hereditary deafness in general. So for a lot of people, they don't understand how deafness can run in families, right? So of course there's different types of deafness before we get to the hereditary part. Not all deafness is genetic. Um, so a lot of it can happen late in life or based on medical conditions or trauma. Typically, if it happens later in life, not always, but a lot of times it can be tied to a traumatic experience for a person. So that also has an additional layer when it comes to processing their deafhood and their deaf journey, I think. Um, but for uh, people who are born deaf, a lot of us, some of us who are born deaf, we don't come from families where there's genetic hereditary deafness, but we could be born deaf from one medical condition or a certain condition occurring. But then other people who have that genetic and hereditary deafness that runs in our families, then there's some people with deafness where it will be with sporadic deafness, where not everybody's in their family is deaf. There's just like random people in there that's deaf, but there's always deaf people in every generation, and that's the case for most deaf families. It's a mix of deaf and hearing people. But a lot of people, they think deaf family all deaf, but no, a lot of deaf families, it's a mix of deaf and hearing people, but deafness runs in the family. And you can be hearing and still pass on deafness genetically if it runs in your family, and then your kids will be deaf, and things like that. Um, and then fucking other deaf families, they will just so happen to all be deaf. That is a thing where, the deafness, that deaf gene is strong sometimes. Um, I said deaf gene. Fucking captioner. Anyway, so that's the thing. So there's like this misconception that either none of you are deaf or all of you are deaf. Some people, when I tell people I have a deaf family, they're like, but your brother and sister can hear. Actually, I think my brother's late deaf. But um, anyway, fucking, you know what I mean? Like they don't understand. Well, I've got deaf, well, who's deaf in my family? I've got a bunch of deaf cousins on both sides. So deafness runs in my family on my mom's side and my dad's side. Um, and so, like, for example, twins run in both sides of my family as well. So on my mom's side, I've got another set of cousins who are also twins. One of the cousins is also has the same type of deafness like me. We're both sensorineural deaf. um, we both have no hearing on one side and partial deafness on the other. Me and my cousin, and we're both twins, and the other twin is hearing. You know what I'm saying? So there's four of us. You know what I mean? And my brother was a twin, but his twin passed at birth. Not at birth, miscarried. I don't know the whole story there, but I just know that my brother was a twin, his twin miscarried. But fucking sorry, saying the wrong shit. Anyway, but so my cousins, deaf cousins both sides, deaf aunts and uncles on both sides, but not all of my aunts and uncles are deaf. Um, I think one of my uncles is deaf on my mom's side. Actually, I know the other uncle is hearing, and my mom is hearing, but my mom's dad deaf, right? Um, my mom's dad is deaf. Is what I was saying. Fuck the captioner. That's what I'm trying to. DEAF. My mom's dad is deaf. God damn, it still can't get that shit right. Y'all know what the fuck I'm trying to say? Anyway, and then on my dad's side, like my dad's deaf, and deafness runs both sides. Um, and so being deaf with a deaf family, most of us deaf people, we are born into hearing culturally assimilated families, even if deafness is in our family genetically. It's about 10% of deaf people actually grow up with a strong deaf culture and learning sign language. So my deaf family, none of us had access. We had what was called dinner table syndrome. Um, Dinner table syndrome. Why is the captioner not getting this? Dinner table syndrome is when deaf people are isolated or left out at conversations. And it can happen everywhere around the world, but we typically refer to this at the dinner table because we notice it a lot at the dinner table. Um, so yeah, fucking a lot of deaf people were expected to be present, but we're not. Our access doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Um, like if we don't show up, we are perceived as problematic for not putting in enough effort. Yet people don't accommodate us and act like we're not working hard enough to be somewhere where we're not given access. You know what I'm saying? And we just don't know what's happening. We just raw dog life, fuck it. You know what I mean? We guess, and we'll be in our own world, and we'll get immersed in our own things with what gives us access, and space out and just be reading and shit because they're not paying attention to us. We can't hear anyway. So that's what it's like for me. And a lot of like when I notice my deaf cousins, like I got one deaf cousin, they're not even hard of hearing. They're completely, totally deaf. A lot of us deaf in my family most of us are hard of hearing deaf. A lot of deaf people, most deaf people are hard of hearing. Um, but then, I got deaf people in my family that are full deaf spectrum without hearing aids, nada, you know? So I don't know, it's like a whole thing, right? Like access, you know what I'm saying? And so why are most deaf families assimilated into the hearing society? That goes to Alexander Graham Bell. Well, it goes to a lot of issues, but I like to blame Alexander Graham Bell because to me that is such a quick way to sum it all up. But there's obviously way more to the story. So linked in the description of this video, I have the playlist for Deaf Awareness Month playlist. And if you click on the Deaf Awareness Month playlist in the description, of that playlist. I have a list of playlists related to deaf history, deaf society, deafhood, um, and all of that. And that really fully explains everything with sources linked in most of the videos. Um, but to roughly sum it up, deaf people are assimilated into hearing society because through colonialism, um, procedures, laws, and policies have been put in place to restrict deaf access. And it was used, in my opinion, I believe, specific hearing individuals weaponized ableism from perpetuated and weaponized ableism throughout society in order to profit off of deaf oppression. I'm saying DEAF. Um, that's my opinion, and my Alexander Graham Bell playlist really explains that, particularly the readings of his memoir and the address of the speech he gave, in my opinion. And there's way more to it than that, but that's, in my opinion, how it became this way and remains so. Um, so, or, an easy summary. There's obviously that's a bad summary potentially, but that's how I like to sum it up, because a lot of people, they don't they the thing is, a lot of people ask me questions and they want quick answers to things that you really need to know all of the history for that quick answer to make sense. Otherwise, it sounds like I'm talking out my ass. But if I explain to you the Milan Conference, if I explain to you all the laws banned against deaf people, if I explain to you all the ways we've been oppressed, then you get it. But that will take hours to do, right? And so this is me attempting to tell you while making a quicker content about it. Um, but so definitely check the playlist for the full explanation of everything. And that's the point of the description, all the playlists in there, is to educate you on all of that history as to how deaf families became assimilated into hearing society. So that leads us to the importance of deaf culture in regards to sign language and deaf representation in not only society but also families. Because one issue we're having now, particularly when it comes to social media, is how hearing people will tokenize their proximity to deaf people, particularly if they're related to us, in order to exploit their relationship to us, but still perpetuating the oppression against us. And so that's another thing that we're contending with, particularly today. And so for me, fucking deaf and representation in society is important for deaf autonomy. And right now, where my focus is, if your focus isn't on deaf autonomy when it comes to deaf representation and deaf led representation, then you don't really care about deaf community. You're just exploiting us, in my opinion, because I also don't think hearing people have any relevant experience on deaf issues to speak for us. Hearing people often think that if they know a deaf person, that makes them deaf community all of a sudden, or if they're born into a deaf family, they're deaf community. But in my opinion, if you're not deaf community. You're just related to us. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so part of the issue where deaf people stay oppressed is because we are remaining oppressed within our family unit. They don't listen to us. They don't give us access. They speak over for us. And then the ones that learn sign language, a lot of them, they care more about hearing clout about the fact that they know sign language than about actually amplifying deaf voices or giving deaf people a platform to represent ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I struggle. Like, I got into a fight with someone. She's not a coda. She's a hearing person. She's a soda, which is a sibling of a deaf adult, trying to promote herself as a coda. And the reason she's doing so is because coda is a trending keyword. Hearing people know what coda means, and she wants to market herself to hearing people, exploiting deaf culture. In my opinion, that's harmful for deaf society because she has no lived experience on being a coda. She's taking away actual representation from people who have an experience as a coda. And she's creating this misappropriation with deaf roles, in my opinion. Because I'm also a coda. You know what I'm saying? I'm deaf, but I'm a child of a deaf adult. Um, and so my siblings, they're sodas and they're codas. You know what I'm saying? Your relationship as a soda isn't the same as your relationship as a coda. And in my opinion, and I just don't align with hearing people who tokenize their relationship to deaf community to exploit deaf culture for clout with hearing people, but not helping deaf community and not accurately portraying their role in deaf community. Like, you shouldn't have to fake your role in deaf community. You don't pretend like you have a different relationship than what you have. That bothers me. I consider that part of identity fraud, in my opinion. But that's a whole nother thing. So deaf representation is important because we need to accurately represent ourselves. Part of how we got oppressed was through misrepresentation and misinformation about us. And so when hearing people perpetuate misinformation about deaf connections, relationships, society, and culture and environment, it makes it harder for us to correct that narrative because hearing people control the narrative on deaf issues and they're not letting us speak for ourselves. So that's where my issues are. Um, you know what I'm saying? And there's always gonna be issues where like when you, because for example, I use this a lot, but I'm white presenting. I'm a white person. My father is native descent. He does not socially present as white. So I do understand how when you have a family member and you're connected and you have a culture and you have, you know, that like this upbringing into a way of life, you feel connected to the advocacy of that community. You feel like it's part of you and it is part of your life. It is part of who you are. You are part of the community. You're just not the community itself. You know what I'm saying? Hearing people are part of deaf community. They are just not deaf community, if that makes sense. Because you're not deaf if you're not deaf. You know what I'm saying? And here's another thing is like I hearing people think that if they know a deaf person, that means they're every deaf person's community. That's they got to stop with that. Okay, like that, and I know this is related because of my deaf family experience and issues I have with my own hearing. Fucking, these are things I talk to my own hearing family members about. And I'm sharing with you my issues because if you have deaf people in your life, you know, I think not all deaf people feel the same as me. You know, we're not a monolith. But a lot of deaf do feel the same as me. Like, I didn't just come out, like, a lot of these things I felt all along, but I never knew how to articulate the issues I had till later in life when other deaf taught me and what the label of the things I was feeling was. You know what I'm saying? And so it's common deaf experience where we have this in our families. And that's my deaf family experience as well, where I struggle with where, like, you know, people will say, oh, well, you know, like, I know a deaf person or I have a deaf family member, you know. When my family members do that, it creates an environment that I don't feel safe to be around them anymore. And so I'm just letting you guys know if y'all do that, you're probably creating an environment that's not safe for deaf people. Um, I don't talk to every hearing person in my family because they don't give me access. What's the fucking point? Um, so, and a lot of deaf people in my family, we go off on our own thing. We don't even fucking talk to the hearing people because they don't care about what we have to say. They don't care if we hear them or not. They just want us there for the pictures and for their social media. They don't care about how we experience being around them. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so that's why I'm very, you know, I feel like I'm a little bit rambly today. So I feel like this is a good place to wrap up. So what we've talked about is the importance of deaf representation in society as well as with deaf families. And we've talked about how relationships within deaf families are kind of like, in my opinion, what I was trying to do was show how relationships within deaf families are reflections of deaf struggles within society, in my opinion. Um, and so, yeah, we've talked about how deaf families became assimilated into the hearing society in a nutshell, which is through colonialism, spearheaded in the United States by AGB, as well as through a series of laws passed after to oppress deaf. Um, and so, yeah, we talked a little bit about who's deaf in my family, general discussion of hereditary deafness, and what it's like growing up deaf a little bit. And obviously, it's not possible to accurately describe the deaf identity um, succinctly. There's so much more to it. But I hope this at least gives you an oversight into some issues to contend with within deaf family units, as well as considering your relationships in deaf community, just better advocacy, connections, and support with each other and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, thank you for listening to me today. I appreciate you. And I hope you have a great day. I've got some more live streams coming. I might even bang out another deaf family, not deaf family, but another deaf awareness month video today, but it might be tomorrow. But yeah, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching. Join the loyalty program at noladeafchild.com/loyalty and check in during live streams to get points for rewards.